Hey guys, I'm Tim Cahill, Australian footballer. I have a new podcast out now called Tim Talks, where I chat with some of the top names in football. Make sure you subscribe to FTBL. Welcome to Tim Talks episode 4. Today we have another teammate of mine from Everton, international, absolute legend because of this. 2-time Premier League titles, 1 FA Cup medal, League Cup medal. He's a centre-back that scored 40 goals, 565 league games, just under 50,000 minutes played professionally. That's 49,100 minutes played. 26 caps for England and also a goal. Joleon Lescott, welcome.
Nice to speak to you, Tim. Some of them stats I didn't know myself.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty cool. But,
yeah.
You know, how have you been? Seriously, it's been tough times in isolation or good times as well. Spend time with your family and your kids. But how have you been?
Yeah, both. It's not ideal for no one, obviously. And I can say I'm one of the fortunate ones that I've got a space. I can go outside. The weather for Manchester's been okay, which is not something we're used to. But as long as the kids are happy, you tend to get on with it, don't you? So, which has been the main thing. The school have kept us busy with bits and pieces, and kids are at an age where they Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, but tell me about homeschooling, because my 8-year-old Cruz, that's tough. But like, how's that been?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, exactly what you said. It's been tough. We tried to have a schedule of a structure of it. Like, unfortunately, but he's buzzing off it. My old one, he was at GCSE level, so he was year 11. So scraps, no exams, no revision. He's absolutely buzzing off that. And then the 12-year-old, he gets on with it, to be fair. He just, like, if you give him a task, he'll try his hardest to do it, get it done, and then it's done. And then the little monster, the 7-year-old, she's just like, to get her to sit down, like, literally, you can sit down, and then if you turn around for 2 seconds, her attention's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. I'm just like, come on. You use it as an excuse. If I'm not looking at the screen with her all the time, or the wife, then she's
well,
not.
I've got the same with Cruz. He's exactly the same, and he tests me because I'm doing deals. Like, you know, I'm saying, if you just do this spelling test, then after I'll give you 15 minutes of YouTube, and then we're back on. But what about keeping active? You, your wife, kids, do you do stuff together, or do you do it individually? And your boys footballers as well. So do they have programs?
Yeah, both clubs of Stoke and Salford have both been great, to be fair, both providing plenty of programs for them to kind of keep active. I still demand more. You know, I'm like Tim, I'd say, if they're giving you a program, do extra, you know what I mean? So just get on with it. And then the little one, she's just like, and she must do, no joke, 100. She can't walk without doing a cartwheel. I don't know what it is. She just doesn't walk. It's just cartwheels. And then me and the wife, we never normally train together. We just can't, to be fair. But since the lockdown, we have been doing online sessions with various trainers and that, just jumping in their sessions on Instagram and stuff. And then I still keep fit as well. So just mixing it up. But yeah, there's a lot of sanity at the moment.
Yeah, but listen, I know you're a beast in the gym. You take good care of your body. Are you lifting? Are you like Michael Richards, turning into a bodyguard? What is it you're doing? Because we had a good laugh last week, and your name come up so much. Good mate, teammate, but more the friendship, which was so special, and that's why it's good to lead straight into you.
Yeah. Me and Mix go back. People assume that me and Michael were friends from City, but we're friends before that, and real close before that as well. So fortunate enough to kind of break into the England setup at the same time. So we kind of bonded there. Obviously, both living in Manchester, seeing him out and about. He was active back then, to be fair to him. So you regularly see him in Nando's. But no, and then obviously went to City, and then just became really close. And you know what it's like, Tim. We've got a lot of friends through football, and I'd like to think I'm one of yours, you're one of mine. But then 100%. You get someone like you're with Mikel. You get that one person that you just bond with, and it's so genuine. And there's probably nothing that could ruin our friendship. There's probably nothing, any decision we make, we both do stuff for City and various different people. and we can make the decision for each other without even speaking to each other, because we know it's just a genuine thing.
See, that's the thing. The friendship side of it, you're a very loyal guy, and when you see your friends like Jordan Stewart and Sean Wright Phillips, etc., you got your same crew, boys from Wolves, wherever it be, Villa, and you're cool like that, and I like it, because one of the things that drew me towards you at Everton was humble. You know what I mean? We used to have a laugh. We used to have banter. You know, you've got the music, you got the dance moves. But when you first come to Everton, one of the biggest things that I've seen within you was your personality. And I was like, boom, we need this guy. We need this, you know, mountain at the back with Silva and whoever it was to help lead the team. But that's what comes across with your personality.
Yeah, as I said, I've got a lot of the similar friends. Obviously, throughout my career, you gain more friends, which is great. But yeah, the core group that I'm with most of the time are the ones I grew up with. So, and again, like most people, it's different for you, because obviously your core friendships are back in Australia, so it's different. But for me, moving to Manchester was great in terms of obviously career-wise, but the friendships like I had before that, they judge me the most, so just stick with them.
Because they're honest. But Everton for me is something that I want to target, because we had some really good times. Like, you know, tell me about some of your good moments at Everton, because it was a good squad, top quality players. Obviously, your career at Wolves, everything before that, like helped to make you what you are. But I think, you know, for Everton, that what was it there? What did you feel about the club, the fans, the players?
Yeah, it was hard because I didn't know. I'd never moved, so I didn't know what to expect. And then when I went there, and it was daunting, to be fair. The first probably few weeks was hard. Like pre-season was hard. Obviously, I was used to pre-season. The first I'd been on pre-season was Ireland. We were going to America, and obviously the lads didn't know me. I'm not an open guy in terms of just going speaking to anyone. I was quite reserved. I am quite reserved. And what made me realise that I kind of wasn't recognised is that when I went there, Mikel and Joseph Yobo actually asked me what position I played. They didn't even know what position I was.
No
so
way.
Like, Joseph, I swear to God, like Joseph, like I'm speaking, and this is after like, it weren't like day one. I'm talking like 2 days. Joseph said to me, "What position do you play?" And then Mikel was like round there, and he was like, they were talking, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll play at the back." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then that was it. And I was like, "Oh wow!" Like they don't have no clue who I was and stuff like that, which is not a thing, but it was just quite daunting. I was like 23 at the time, and then we went away. And as I said, you know me, in terms of like fashion, my style was always like outgoing. So I was like wearing basketball tops and bright colours, and obviously not everyone was used to that. So then I was like, kind of like obviously targeted for that stuff. And then it just the pre-season and that until probably the Spurs game, it was like, oof, this is hard. But I knew what it was. I kind of knew. I just had to get on with it.
No, that's funny, because I knew who you were, obviously, because I come from the lower leagues, and basically integrating into a team. Yeah, exactly. And integrating into it as soon as possible. And we signed some amazing players. But I'm going to pull Mikel and Yobo up on that because that I didn't know. What about What about your good times at Everton? Because you played, you were one of the pieces to the jigsaw for the club, and the time you had there before it kickstart to Man City, like some of the good times there.
No, all the times was good. As I said, as hard as it was at the start, I didn't not enjoy it. It was just harder than I'd been used to. But in terms of the good times, like as you said, Tim, we probably had 16 players. It weren't like a 25-man squad that are now around nowadays. We had like 16 players, and we kind of knew who was going to play. And if someone got injured, you knew who was coming in, and everyone was kind of close to each other, because I said it was a smaller knit group. And I think the manager enjoyed that. You know, that he didn't want to kind of make decisions of rotating and putting people on the bench. So it was kind of like, no, let's keep this together. And fortunately enough, there wasn't any real injuries for him to kind of make any decisions. So in terms of the good times, it was all good. Like I love football. I love training.
Yeah.
So there wasn't going to be anything that was kind of going to discourage me or not want to give 100% because I love the game more than any other outside influence.
So you kicked on at Everton, obviously created a lot of attention from other Premier League clubs. It comes a time for every footballer. We're all there. We're all in the situation that the next stage, the next step, testing yourself, England, levels, and even for yourself, you moved to Man City. That move, how did it feel? Because you won your first ever title. You become a massive influence in that football club, and it just progressed and progressed. How was that move, the whole process, and the good things about it? Because I just feel that I'm so proud of you because you left Everton. We didn't want you to go, but at the same time, you behind you are medals. Like, that's something you can never ever take away from you, which is something I commend you for.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It was hard because I'd come to Everton when obviously they're on the cusp of potentially doing something good. But I just felt that the opportunity to be as successful as we all want to be was going to be with Man City. I just felt their ambition and the time frame of their ambition matched the time I kind of had left as a player in my peak. To do at Everton would have been great, obviously, but the time frame they were looking to work under, it just wouldn't have married what I had left. I was 27. I was probably had 4 or 5 years left at that level in terms of peak. And I knew City were trying to kind of achieve something in that time, where in the greatest respect to Everton, they were hoping to achieve something, where City were kind of aiming to achieve something. So the decision wasn't as hard as you think but in the way it happened wasn't great. Yeah, I would have liked to have left a little bit cleaner than it did, and then it appeared to be. But I think when it's all said and done, everybody kind of recognises why I made that choice, and I don't think anyone has any regrets with the outcome.
No, that's football. It's the same when Mikel left. It's the same when I left. It's the same when a lot of players left. And I feel that Everton always welcomes all of us back like family, and that's the key. It's respect at the end of the day.
Not so much.
Family. It's all love. I've seen you posting about Everton, the last few weeks, and in all your posts, and that just shows the kind of guy you are. What was it like to be involved in the final title challenge?
That was weird because that season was probably the first genuine season when most of us, but I definitely thought we can win the league. Like we signed, we obviously signed Sergio, but we signed Gale and Samir Nasri, who I thought at the time were going to be huge parts of the jigsaw. Obviously they were, but we hadn't signed Sergio yet, so I didn't see kind of that. But them two signings, I thought, they're coming from a club that's there that we're trying to emulate. And so to kind of realise that, and then the mentality, you talk about bonds and that we had at Everton was great. And I'm sure you're obviously a likeable guy. So you had that at multiple clubs, but the one we had at City was different because we all was tarnished with the same brush. We owned everyone that said we went to City. The only reason we went there was for money. That was the only reason anyone ever thought we went to City. So to kind of use that as a motivational tool without mentioning it either, it wasn't like we said, we're going to show these people. It was just like, okay, let me just prove to you that we're on it. And like people talk about the achievements of now, and it's great what City is and still are kind of main force, but to do it in that era was huge.
Tell me about the Agüero moment.
that is just like, it's still like tingles now. It's still like tingles down my whole body, and that's crazy. I would never want to win that way again. It was that mad. I don't care what people say. I personally would rather win it with 10 games to go. And be safe than going and then knowing that you're going to win. I'm saying like the feeling of it being so close to that is ridiculous. It still scares me now. I can't watch the game. I've watched the goal and stuff now, but I don't watch the game.
We're retired now, right? And I've been
Yeah.
retired a year. How's the transition been? Because for me, it's been seamless. 20 years playing. I love being home. I love doing projects. I love business, commercial. But what about for you? Like, do you look back at games? Do you miss football? Do you miss playing? How's it been?
I thought I would miss it more than I do. I honestly did. I, like yourself, love the game. I probably love training more than playing. Not that I didn't enjoy playing, but I just loved going to training every day and trying to improve and all that stuff. And the hardest part for me was probably the routine. I underestimated how used to a routine I was. Obviously, we'd gone to school, you, told what time to be there, what to do. You leave school, you go straight into the academy system, which was scholarship, YTS back then. The same thing. And then I'm just in football. So at 35, kind of stepping away from playing and having no routine, no structure, and kind of being left to your own devices, I underestimated how important that was. And it was hard. It was hard. I'm not going to lie to him. For about 3 or 4 months after my last season, which was in 2017, which I didn't plan to retire that season. I wanted to do one more year and then retire, because I was having putting things in place through that year, but I still wanted to play to kind of have a distraction or focus, but then to kind of not be given the right opportunities. Like, I remember some of the opportunities that were coming, I always had to move to London, and I was like, that's not happening. I was only going to kind of play in the area I was in. And then I was told I could go to Sheffield United on trial, and they just come. That's what I'm saying to him. They just come up from League One. So I was like, trial? I've just come from the Prem, and I wasn't being like big-headed. I was like, if they're asking me to go on trial, or said I can go on trial, it's time's done. I'm out. So that kind of made my decision.
No, but that's what I'm saying is like, when I speak to Micah Richards, it's different to when I speak to Phil Neville. When you talk, it's real, and it's black or white. It's not grey.
Yeah.
Like it's like when David Moyes used to say, win the ball and get it to Mikel or Steven Pino.
Yeah.
Everyone else, just let them do the stuff. We do all the doggy work.
Yeah.
I'll make the box. Billy, you get on the second balls. And that's that's the personality that comes from speaking to you, because it's not that being disrespectful, that's trial, like our career, our experience, it's what we bring, it's what we can do. But no, that definitely makes me laugh. When you look at that, is there times in your career where you think, is there something you wanted to take back? Is there something that you think, like, maybe you missed a chance or missed a penalty, or is there something you thought, if I
see them things? No, like the finer detail of stuff. No, because there was far much good than it was bad in terms of the detail. So thinking about that, you'd lose your mind, Tim. If you think you made that tackle or scored that goal every time, you just lose your mind. So I never had time to think about decisions. Like, I don't regret going to Aston Villa, but to be a fan of Aston Villa and be part of that team that took them down was horrendous. Like, that is so hurtful to me, and I could have dealt with all of that. And then the latter part of the season, I was made kind of a scapegoat, which I understand. I kind of get that, but then there was targeting like family and stuff, and my family, obviously, majority of my family and friends are Villa fans, so then they couldn't come to games because of the abuse and all that stuff. And I was like, now it's getting personal. I have like no love lost for that situation. So that was probably a horrible time. And the worst thing is, like, if you would have had Micah on after, he would have been able to tell you, I was so close to going to LA Galaxy that window. So like,
and that's January. That would have been your thing.
That was like, me, Tim. That was like, that's the goal. That is the goal. That's like my Barcelona at the time kind of thing. So they reached out to me, and they wanted to sign me, Nigel, and Ashley Cole, the same window. So I was like, oh my God. And it was done. Everything was agreed. And then what was happened was we played a game for Villa had a game the Saturday and the Tuesday, and we'd spoke to LA before, and I said, let's get these 2 games out of the way, and then we'll finalize everything. Kind of Villa were on board. That's fine. I didn't play on the Saturday. It was a FA Cup game against Wickham. We just like changed the team. That was fine. We drew 1-1, and obviously we're going for a bad time anyway. But me and Brad Guzan were on the bench, and some fans caught us like smiling and assumed we were laughing at the situation. And we weren't even losing, so it wasn't that bad. And then they kind of approached the bench, and it went off. Michael had to come and calm the situation down, and then we couldn't leave the stadium for like an hour after because they surrounded the coach. So it was bad and all that stuff. So then we get to Tuesday, and I'm in the team now. It's against Palace, and again the team's been changed around. I'm now the captain. So when they read my name out before the game, I get booed by the home fans. They boo me. I'm like, hold on, I didn't even play on the weekend, and I'm getting booed. So now I realise what's happening. So when I say I was so focused, I said, I'm going to show these now that this is not my fault. The situation we're in, I'm not one solely to blame. So we play, bearing in mind, I think at the time, we'd lost like 9 games on the bounce. Palace have got the best away record in the league. So it's not going to be easy. We win 1-0 and I score. Ooh. And oh, mate, the worst thing I've done. That was it.
What?
Villa said to LA, no, we're not letting him go. No.
Oh, wow.
So it never happened. So like literally my son said to my wife, my oldest son said to my wife, after the game, our dad scored, Mum. Does that mean we're not going to go to LA now? And that was it. That was the end of it.
The kids are on everything. Because I'm going to have Nigel de Jong on the show. I've already locked him in. And I'm going to ask him about this. What would it have been like to reunite with your bro Joleon at LA Galaxy? Because I went to New York and I loved it because I was 32. You know, my body was sore. I wanted to continue playing for Australia. I was in New York, and the MLS is a massive league. It's got so much about it. And we traveled there every year with Everton. The times we had pre-season, hanging out, banter with the boys, it was so amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, kind of me and the LA vibe, that was like the culture of it out there, the kind of, obviously the lifestyle was a big plus point. But as I said, the fact that it was Nigel and Ash, who we'd all kind of spoke to around at the same time, would have just been like unreal. I'd go there every summer to get ready for pre-season. So I kind of knew the training facility. I knew all the kind of therapists that work at the training ground. So I was aware, they were aware of myself. So they were looking forward to it. So when I'm getting messages from them to say, oh, we hear you coming into close, I'm like, yeah. This is hopefully done by next week. And then LA had Van Dam from Belgium. He was the second choice because basically they needed a left-footed centre half. So I was obviously the first choice. They said if you can make it happen, it has to happen in this window in January. If not, we're going to have to go for the other choice. And it didn't happen. But yeah, if that would have happened, I would have been gone out there, and potentially that would have been it. I wouldn't have been in Manchester.
You know, when I look at your character and I look at the times at Aston Villa, same as Micah, you know, that is what it is, because it's a compliment when people are onto you. When you're the biggest character, you've won Premier Leagues, whether it's any country I went to, India, China, Australia, they always look to you because you did this at a certain club. So I see that as a compliment. One thing I want to ask, right, I know you love your music. When it comes to dance moves, tunes, you were the go-to guy. Tell me about the DJing. Is this a real thing? Is it just a fad? Because I know you've got the tunes. It
is a real thing, but I kind of gotta respect the art of it, because like anything, Tim, there's people that made careers out of this and do this full time that I'm not on that level. Like, I can mix a song and do all this stuff, but there's some real guys that have been doing this like full time, you know what I mean? So I don't want to just be out there and say, I'm a DJ before I've actually perfected the craft, because as I said, there's a lot of my friends and like people I know that do it, that take it a lot more serious than me. I love it as a hobby, and I'm going to say that DJing in the club and that feeling was probably the closest feeling I've had to playing. Like, being able to control people's emotions from a song, you just underestimate how like, you know, when you're out and you hear a song and it takes you to a place where you're like, oh, I remember when I was doing this, doing that. And to actually do that to people and have people, strangers, come up to me and say, oh, what a song that is. I'm like, it's not even my song. I'm just playing it. But to actually control that situation, that was the closest thing to like playing, hence the reason why I enjoy it a lot.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to football because I want to know about the differences between Pellegrini and Mancini, winning titles under them. What you learned, players you learned from, what was it with these guys?
Mancini kind of came and transformed us into a team, into a style, or developed a style, that we needed to have to order to win the title, because Mark Hughes come and the respect we all had for him, because he took a bit of backlash. Obviously, he was part of a great Man United era. So he was kind of on the backlash of actually being Man City manager and trying to recruit all the players. And so everyone had a massive respect for him. But then Mancini come and kind of just flipped it to where we were gone from the old Newcastle team winning 4-3 to actually trying to just win a game 1-0. And with the players we had, that was possible. The defenders love to defend. And then we had Carlos Tevez, that was a joke. Like, absolute, what a player. So he kind of developed that. And then obviously we added extra players, like you got David and you got Yaya and all them boys. So when the talent scale is getting higher and you still got that philosophy of if we concede like minimal amount of goals, we have the players to kind of win games. And then Pellegrini came and he kind of wanted to show us this style of defending, which we all thought was foreign. So like you had to kind of be on the same line as the ball. I won't go too much into detail, but it was just totally new and something that no one had experienced. It was, I think he developed it at Malaga. But again, he was fortunate enough that year. It was Joe, Vinny, Yaya, and Sergio. That was like the spine of the team. And that spine could go into any team in any era. So he was fortunate enough to have them players like that year. Yaya scored 20 goals. You know what I mean? Like
midfielder.
Yeah, like people that weren't doing that as regular. Obviously Lampard and all them boys, the top boys, and Yaya was that guy. So to have them players and play that one, be fortunate enough to kind of get away with that style was totally different. Because then when he goes to West Ham, and I'm saying to people, they're going to struggle. If he tries to adopt that style, it wasn't because anything to do with personally with West Ham, but he'd had 4 of the best players in their positions at Man City, and we barely did it. So to kind of try and adapt that at West Ham, where you haven't got them players, it's going to be very difficult.
I'm starting to hear something now. I'm starting to hear J-Lo the coach. Because I know you got I know you got your badges, and I know how tough it is, because I'm on the end of completing my A license and going to my pro. I know you're on that journey quietly like myself, but I hear J-Lo the coach in the background. Whether you like it or not, it's in your tone.
Yeah, the coaching aspect, I'm not going to say never, but it's not something I'm striving for, and it's mainly to do with the time frame, like the time constraints it has on you. Like playing is a lot, you know that, I know that, but coaching, like that's every minute of every day, and I don't think I've got that. Well, I don't think I want to kind of give it that much time again in order to do that at the moment anyway. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying the kind of balance I have with the life and the kids and being around them. And over the next few years, when the boys get a bit older, then maybe that is the pathway. But I'm trying to keep my options open and work down different avenues and see which one kind of draws me in the most. And I don't mind coaching, but especially when it's cold, Tim, you know, I'm like, mate, and then winter months, nah, that's not for me.
Never say never, because the attributes that you have, that you have on the pitch, that you have on the training ground, you didn't really talk much, but you talk through actions, which I feel in a changing room is so important, because you had an aura that, not to say it was intimidating, but it was always looking for respect. Just certain things. So I see good traits in you within a coach, and I understand the timings. Now, when you look at Man City, Everton, England, tell me about it. Like playing for your country, what it meant, the amount of caps.
Yeah,
That's just a whole different level. I know what
yeah,
it feels when I play for my country.
yeah. As I said, like playing for England, I don't even know if I dreamt about that. I don't even know if I thought about, yeah, I'm going to play for England. Like that wasn't something that, from like being in the Premier League, wasn't an ambition. It was to become a footballer. The first real ambition was to play for Aston Villa, be in your hometown club. That's all you thought about. And then as you kind of progress into football and you kind of realise things don't happen the way you want, then to kind of get close to England and realise that there's a potential opportunity there was out of this world. Like, and then to get the call up and go and work with them players who obviously were targeted as the golden generation of players we've had, and rightly so. Like what they did for their clubs is ridiculous. So to kind of just compete with them, and it's funny because we talk about, for me, I tell you what, the biggest thing in football is timing. If your timing is right, you can have the best career or the worst career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll know that. And if I look back, and arguably 5 of the best centre-halves England have produced would be Bobby Moore, Tony Adams, Rio, John Terry, and Sol Campbell. And when I first broke into the England team, John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, and Sol Campbell were the centre-halves. So I kind of I'm thinking, just to be in this scenario is unreal. You know what I mean? And at the time, I'm obviously at Everton. I'm playing fullback as well. So I'm playing fullback on the weekend and then going to kind of compete with the centre half. So to me, that was just an achievement in itself. And then obviously to get an opportunity to represent England in a major tournament and score was unreal.
Yeah, that's massive. What about, got to talk about derbies, Merseyside derby, Manchester derby. What does it for you?
Yeah,
tough question, but they got different
tough
flavors.
one. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, Tim. Like, no one can tell me, no one can tell any fan that another derby means more than their derby. So, as big as Everton, Liverpool, City, City United is, Wolves, West Brom is huge. You know what I mean? So that means to them, like Birmingham, Villa, I played in that game. Yeah. Like, them games to them fans mean the most. So in terms of what one was bigger, you just can't compare them. They're all as big as each other. But in terms of the stature of the game, like the one where we beat United to go top of the league, because that's what it meant us to be. That was like propelled us above them to win the league. That was probably the biggest derby game played in. But in terms of the stature of the derbies, you can't compare. Like my first Merseyside derby, we won 3-0. Like that's huge, Tim. You know what I mean? Like that's not. Has it happened since? I don't know. I don't think so. So to kind of be a part of that.
That was special. I'll never forget them, because I used to look in the changing room. I used to think, okay, got J-Lo, got all the boys in here. We need to win. You know, where Liverpool could look to the side and go, Suarez, Torres, Carragher, Gerrard, Xavi Alonso. Not to say I didn't look at my players and think it was also the bench.
Yeah.
So to win in a derby, then it was massive, and I remember it being hot. I remember being
it was
hot
roasting.
And
it was roasting. Yeah, I think that was my first home game. I think that was my first home game for Everton. Like, I came on against Blackburn. We then went to Spurs, and then it was an international break, and then we came back, and it was the Liverpool game. And as I said, I played in a Wolves derby, which is huge, but the Liverpool derby, like to see fans sitting together, I'd never seen that. I didn't know that was a thing. And I've got a few mates that are so-called, especially now, are so-called Liverpool fans, so they come out of the woodworks and they came up to the game and stuff. But yeah, that occasion was outrageous.
40 goals, top 3. Come on, 40 goals for a centre-back. When you look at it.
I know, yeah. Top 3 goals. I scored like a scissor kick against Villa for Everton. Yeah, mate. Yeah. You can find that. I know Aaron can find that.
Yes.
We lost the game.
I want that played over this clip.
Yeah.
This could be the clip. I want to see the scissor kick. Why
I think
can't
I
remember?
think it was assist from you. I think it was an assist. It was
Scissor kick.
Yeah, mate. Well, yeah, kind of. But you know what it is.
Okay.
You know, it's like so.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
on there. Don't worry, that's on there.
Yeah, okay.
Against Aston Villa, we lost the game 3-2. But that was probably my top goal. What else was there? I scored a volley for Wolves as well against Leicester, right foot. Which again, these two are right foot, and then the top goal has to be England goal scoring.
Yeah.
I'd like, unless you're a striker, no player dreams about that. Like that was never a thing. Scoring for England, that wasn't even like, yeah, that was ridiculous.
I have taken you up, down, left, right, everywhere. But what I'm going to do now, because I want to finish lighthearted, literally, I said to Phil Neville, I said to Mike, I said to Lewis Saha that this is quickfire. It was like an essay. You know what it's like when they start going.
Yeah.
So now, literally, quickfire. All right.
Okay.
10 questions. Starting now. Ferrari or Lamborghini?
Ferrari.
Golf or tennis?
Ugh. FIFA. Tennis.
Weights or cardio?
Weights.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Favorite season?
2012.
Savory or sweet?
Sweet.
Favorite genre of music?
Hip hop.
Pool or beach?
Pool.
Xbox or PS4?
Xbox.
Maradona or Pele?
Nah, none of them. R9.
Nah. Okay, to finish with a fun one. Tim Cahill or Phil Neville?
Tim Cahill.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Nah, this is alleged though. This is alleged to be fair.
He is alleged.
No, mate. What a guy. Footy guy.
Jay, to finish, right? Amazing career. Obviously, you didn't know about the 49,000 minutes. You were someone that had injuries and really looked after your body well. What's a message that you can give to youngsters or young inspiring footballers like my boys?
Yeah.
That they can use to finish up the show?
Oof. Inspiring message. Yeah, in terms of talent, like everyone says it, and it's a well-known phrase that talent isn't enough. Like you have to be willing to outwork everyone. And what I will say is, whatever your motivation is, use it to get the maximum amount of your ability. So people frown on it being money, cars, girls, whatever that is, trophies, whatever it is, if it gets the best out of you, use it. I don't shy away from anyone's motivation as long as they use it to get their full potential.
Sweet. So we're going to wrap this up now, but we're going to go live on Instagram. We're going to have a game of FIFA, right?
Oh,
but I'm going to need not now.
Oh, okay.
Later on, before this goes out, and I'm going to need to sub in my son. So if you got one of your boys,
what?
I'm going to need help, Jay. I know that you're the king of FIFA. I've seen what you've been doing in the NHS charities, FIFA invitationals. You've been destroying people, but from day one, you've been the boss man of that game. So if you can bring in one of your boys, maybe I'll play him, and then I'll get Kaya to play you, half each. We'll have a little bit of banter on live Insta, Football Ways page, and share some love with the fans. Just look at the comments, let them watch us hang out. So I just want to say a big thank you and a big love to you and your family, bro.
Nah, always love Tim. Always love. Pleasure to be on. I'm just gutted you waited till season 4. I'm now you're working with Micah. It's like our friendship's like deteriorated and he stepped up. You know what I mean? We have to watch
listen. I started with Saha, so it was like Everton, Man U,
King Louis,
Phil Neville, Everton, Man U, and then I had to switch. So then I'm doing Man City over the water. Now I'm coming to Jay. So the next one is going to be a really big twist. So look forward to sharing all of this with you. And bro, just loads of love and hopefully catch up soon.
Yeah, cool, man. Nice, Tim.
If you enjoyed that video, consider subscribing to FTBL. And if you're not convinced yet, why not take a look at some of these other videos we've made just for you.